All my life, I have listened to people say that we are animals and that we've come from animals. And I've often thought to myself, they say that we used to live up in trees. Well, folks, climb a tree and live there for a week and see how you feel. They also say we came out of the sea. Came out of the sea. If you lie in your bath for 9 hours, your skin is so wrinkled, it's not hardly recognisable. Yet a baby can be in a womb 9 months in liquid without drowning, and when it's born is not particularly wrinkled. So I've been listening to this ridiculous nonsense about evolution all my life. And I've written a book called The Origin of Specious Nonsense. The website is www.darwinsdeadidea.com. And my daughter gave me a book, A Child is Born, and I started to read it and I became obsessed. Not obsessed, but fascinated by how a baby is born. And I used pregnancy in my book to illustrate the ludicrous nonsense of evolution and how it has abandoned reason. And while I was doing research for my book, I went to the Charles Darwin exhibition. And Charles was a nice guy. He was tormented by religion. And in fact, religion is a pox, and organised religion, I believe, is a pox in human society throughout history. So you needn't think that I'm one of these creationists who believe every single word in the Hebrew scriptures. No, I am a thinking person. And if I find something reasonable and scientific in the Hebrew writings called the Bible, I'll believe it. And if I don't, I'll reject it. So I was in the London Natural History Museum 5 times last year, and there was an exhibition on Charles Darwin. And I said to the 2 curators before I went in, there's not a shred of evidence for this fantasy. And one of them said to me, "What religion are you, sir?" And I said, "I've no religion. I don't give a suck about organised religion." And he said, "Oh, that's interesting." So I went in and I came out 5 hours later and one of them was still there, and I said, "It's actually worse than I thought it was. This shrine to Charles Darwin." Nice guy, actually. But I saw something shocking in there, and I'll never forget it till the day I die. And I live every day. And what it was in a glass case there was a lizard from the Galapagos Islands, about that size. And it was on a branch, but it didn't move. It was fixed like this. And it asked you not to hit the glass case because every few minutes it would move and you'd realise it was alive. Big long lizard with a long tail. And a man came in, he had an earring bigger than mine, and he had a beautiful little girl, 7 or 8. And I'm standing at the glass case looking at this magnificent lizard, recognising that the lizard came from a lizard and will only ever produce a lizard. And the guy actually said to the little girl, "See, darling, the lizard has a tail. And when you were born, you had a tiny little tail, so you come from lizards." I couldn't. Listening to this bullshit, I couldn't be silent. I said to the guy, "Not a chance! Not a chance!" And the guy was shocked. And the poor little girl was looking up. And I said, "No, little girl, you didn't come from a lizard. Relax, relax." But it could have been a nasty incident there. So anyway, that happened, and that's what I've listened to all my life. Instead of reason. An elephant only produces an elephant. A bear only produces a bear. Now, I've read Charles Darwin's book, The Origin of Specious Nonsense, and I've read it forensically. And I have counted 1,515 suppositions. Now, the language of suppositions, or the language of evolutionists, are this: maybe, if, might have, possibly, we imagine, I imagine, possibly, maybe, if, possibly, maybe, if. That's the language of evolutionists. And I counted 1,515 in Charles Darwin's laughable fantasy. So, I decided to write my book because I realised that the evolutionists of this world have a conspiracy of cowardly silence. And students in the universities around the world are bamboozled by nonsense. And Charles Darwin said in his first edition, guess what he said when he was in America? He saw the American bear in the lakes, swallowing the flies as it was swimming along, and he could see the possibilities of how the bear could become aquatic and one day could become a whale. He got so much laughter at him, not with him, at him, that the man wisely took it out of the following 6 editions. Now that's what evolutionists tell you happened. That we were once fish. That when they say that the frog turned into the prince, evolutionists say, don't laugh, it's possible. But you and I know, a frog never, ever turns into a prince, a young male. It's laughable, it's ludicrous, it's ridiculous, it's unscientific, it denies the laws of DNA, which Charles Darwin was a total ignoramus of, and it denies a first cause. So folks, humans have always, ever, only produced humans and nothing else, and DNA is what mocks the scientists, because DNA chemically decides what you become. And don't be fooled when they tell you 70, 80 or 90% of it is similar. This DNA is similar to an orangutan's or a cabbage or whatever, because the bone of an ape or the bone of an orangutan or the bone of a monkey is similar to the bones we have. A skin is similar in DNA. A blood may be similar in DNA, but the brain is what's different. And that's where I part with the evolutionists, in the use of the brain, in the use of reason. Tune in next week to another lecture. John J. May. Yeehaw!